She didn't just leave the stadium. She left before she even had a reason to stay.
If y'all don't finally get the picture that men like Stefon Diggs don't give a f. I don't care what stature the woman is. I don't care if she was the Queen of England. I don't care. She is Cardi B.
And while the internet was busy debating baby mamas and sideline drama, Cardi's own sister hit that IG live button. And she said everything Cardi was too unbothered to say herself. But here's what nobody is talking about. The breakup didn't start at the Super Bowl. According to Cardi's sister, it was already over before kickoff. And the reason? It's messier, pettier, and more personal than anything the blogs ever reported. Stay right there, because once you hear what Cardi's sister said on that live, you are never going to look at this situation the same way again. Alright, let's rewind. Because to understand why Cardi's sister went nuclear on IG Live, you have to understand what was already brewing way before any of us saw Cardi walk out of that stadium. For weeks heading into Super Bowl weekend, Cardi B had been the picture of a supportive girlfriend, traveling to support her man, showing up, being present. From the outside, everything looked fine, but behind the scenes? Sources say the tension had been building for months, and it wasn't just one thing, it was a pattern. A slow accumulation of disrespect, broken agreements, and red flags that Cardi had been quietly cataloging and ignoring because she wanted this to work. Now here's the part that's crucial. Cardi didn't go into that Super Bowl weekend blind. She knew Stefon had a complicated situation with his baby mamas. She knew the timelines were messy. She's a grown woman. She's been through enough to know what she was walking into. But what she thought she had was an agreement, a clear understanding of boundaries, of who would be there, how things would be handled, and most importantly, that her partner would protect her peace in a situation that could easily spiral out of control. That agreement fell apart. And the person who blew it up, we'll get to her in a second. But first, here's the thing everyone keeps glossing over. According to sources close to Cardi, the issue wasn't really about the Super Bowl at all. The Super Bowl was just the stage. The performance had been rehearsed for months, and Cardi's sister, sitting at home watching all of this unfold in real time, finally had enough. She went live, and she didn't hold back a single syllable. So picture this. It's Super Bowl weekend. The game is happening. Cardi has already left the stadium. The internet is losing its mind trying to figure out what went wrong. Blogs are posting theories. Fans are speculating. And then Cardi's sister goes live. Now, Cardi's sister is not known for being quiet. She is not the type to sit back while her family gets disrespected publicly. And clearly, she had been watching this situation with Stefon Diggs build, and she reached her limit. On that live, she reportedly mocked Stefon directly. Not subtly, not cryptically. She went in. And the energy was not grief. It was amusement. Like she'd been waiting to say this for a long time, and the Super Bowl finally gave her the opening. She reportedly laughed about the fact that Stefon lost the game, lost the fight on the field, and lost Cardi all in the same night. She called it karmic. She made it very clear that in her eyes, and allegedly in Cardi's eyes, this situation had run its course long before that stadium. She wasn't mourning a relationship. She was celebrating a escape. And then she dropped the detail that changed everything. According to what she said on that live, Cardi had already made up her mind before the game even started. Let that sink in. She flew out there. She sat in that suite. She watched that halftime show. And she had already decided in her heart that she was walking away. The Super Bowl didn't break them up. It just gave Cardi a public timestamp for a decision she had privately already made. So what was the first problem? What was the moment Cardi started mentally checking out? That's where this story gets really layered. Let's talk about Kiki, because Kiki is not a random character in this story. Kiki is allegedly the baby mama who has Stefon's heart, and she has been, according to sources, a consistent source of chaos in Cardi and Stefon's relationship for over a year. Now, the official story going around was that the Super Bowl drama started when Kiki showed up last minute, that originally Stefon's mom was supposed to bring their son, and Kiki inserted herself at the 11th hour, got herself a ticket, sat in general admission, and immediately started posting. Within minutes, blogs had picked it up, and just like that, the very thing Cardi had been trying to keep contained exploded all over the internet. But here's what Cardi's sister made clear on that live. This wasn't a surprise. This was a pattern. Kiki pulling last-minute moves, using her son as leverage to insert herself into spaces Cardi was in, feeding stories to blogs, and doing it all with a smile. The Super Bowl was just the most high-profile version of something she had been doing for months.
Blogs picked it up immediately. Exactly what Cardi was trying to avoid. The issue is boundaries, protection, and peace.
Then there's Christmas, because people forget. Cardi and Stefon didn't even spend the holidays together. It came out that she kept her kids away from his whole situation over the same concerns. Some of the baby mamas didn't want their children around unless they were physically present too. Sound familiar? The same energy, the same dynamic, the same pattern Cardi was living with month after month.
The same pattern that happened with Kiki being at the Super Bowl last minute. Y'all already know she came with "my baby can't be there if I'm not there."
And what was Stefon doing through all of this? According to Cardi's sister, not enough. He was not putting his foot down. He was not protecting Cardi from the external chaos that came with his situation. And when a man with 6 baby mamas and 4 children, all under 1-year-old, cannot or will not manage the drama attached to his own life, that falls on his partner every single time. Cardi was carrying the emotional weight of a situation she didn't create. Now here is where Cardi's sister really drove the knife in, because she reportedly brought up Offset, and not in a subtle way. She drew the comparison directly, because think about it. After 7 years in a toxic marriage, after endless cheating, public humiliation, breakups, and makeups that the whole world watched, Cardi finally walked away from Offset in 2024. She took time to heal, and then Stefon Diggs came along, promising peace, promising respect, promising to be everything Offset wasn't. And what did Cardi get? A man who invited his girlfriend's ex-husband's mistress to his Super Bowl, a man whose baby mamas were running loose on the field and in the stands, a man who allegedly couldn't even control the chaos enough to protect Cardi from being humiliated on the world's biggest stage. Cardi's sister reportedly said it plainly. She saw Offset's patterns in Stefon's behavior, and that was unforgivable, because Cardi hadn't spent 6 months healing from one situation just to walk directly into another one wearing a different jersey. And here's the part that Cardi's sister apparently said with zero remorse. Cardi isn't sad. She's not sitting in a hotel room crying over Stefon Diggs. She closed that chapter the way you close a book you already knew the ending of, cleanly, decisively, and without looking back. So let's land this plane, because after everything, the IG Live, the Super Bowl exit, the Christmas that didn't happen, the Kiki chaos, the Offset comparisons, what is the actual takeaway here? Cardi B did not have a dramatic, impulsive meltdown at the Super Bowl. She didn't storm out because of one baby mama posting on her story. She walked away from a relationship that had been quietly disrespecting her for months, and her sister went on IG Live not to start drama, but to make sure the truth got out before the blogs buried it in noise. What Cardi's sister exposed is something a lot of people in Cardi's position never say out loud, that sometimes the most dangerous relationships aren't the ones where someone is obviously terrible. They're the ones where someone promises to be better and then shows you slowly, over time, that they can't deliver. Those are the hardest ones to leave, because you keep waiting for the promise to become real. And as for whether they get back together, sources were split on that for a while. Some people close to Cardi said she was just venting, that she'd cool down and give Stefon a chance to make it right. But after that IG Live, after her sister went on the internet and essentially buried him in front of thousands of people, that door might be permanently closed. And honestly, after everything Cardi's been through, Offset, the public humiliation, the years of on again, off again, maybe done is exactly where she needs to be right now. Not just done with Stefon, done with choosing men who require her to shrink herself to survive the relationship. Because here's the real headline from all of this. It's not that Cardi B dumped Stefon Diggs at the Super Bowl, it's that Cardi B finally chose herself, and her sister made sure the whole world knew why. And that is the full picture, y'all. Cardi's sister didn't go on that live to be messy. She went on to set the record straight. And whether you're Team Cardi, Team Stefon, or just here for the drama, you have to admit that IG Live said everything the blogs were too scared to print.